Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something sick.
I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny, I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
All right. So, got any parts you'd like to get to know better or change your relationship with?
Yes. Yeah. I had some in mind that I felt totally comfortable working with these. And then during the meditation, I kind of remembered there's something that's bugging me a little bit, but it's one of those things that I'm ooh, I don't want to do that.
Okay.
In public.
Yes.
So I'm just going to give a voice to it and then move on. Because I feel strongly that I won't want to make that public, but I've got some real hurt parts about the what I messaged you earlier this week about the IFS Institute coming out and saying that non-mental health professionals are no longer welcome in the trainings for the moment, and they're, I guess, working, stuff that's specific to or whatever. And I was just really crestfallen about that. It feels, it feels a lot of different ways to a bunch of different parts, but it definitely, pings on some non-belonging type parts and, ones that I'm wrangling a lot of the time anyway in my zeal over this modality and this exploration. And it just feels really, I don't know, it feels kind of like being shut out in a way. And I have sensitivity around that feeling anyway. So I've got parts that are miffed about it and parts that can understand and go along, and then parts that feel shut out about it and all this stuff. But I feel like I needed to kind of just give that one a voice so that feel as though I did. not because I don't even, I'll probably tell you to cut this part. It's not like I want to announce it to the world, but I want to say it to another human that I think gets it,
Yeah.
And that's that.
Okay.
And you're allowed to say things too.
Yes. Okay. There's really no pressure to make anything public.
Yeah.
You've done so much. You've given so much of yourself and your parts to this project. And thank you for that.
Thank you.
And, I want to make the best use of our time and help out any parts we can and go anywhere that feels right.
Yeah.
And I have really zero. I mean, you've seen that I kind of stopped publishing because it's not the fun part. So, you'll be in a way doing me a favor if I have one less in the backlog. So feel free to go ahead and, sometimes it's nice just to even say that up front and say, okay, we're not going to publish this one. And hey, you can change your mind to yes later, rather than feeling like it's a yes and you have pressure to change your mind to no for something. So I just want to reiterate that to me, the work comes first, and we can go wherever you want to go.
Well, I mean, those parts got, like I said, they kind of got like dinged this week or whatnot with that news. But there's also another one that feels kind of just as salient and pertinent to me, which has shown up a lot. It feels exile-y for sure. And yeah, there's a lot of opposition to it and parts that are like, no, what is this shit? But there's a part that believes that anyone that I interact with might at some point just quietly decide to stop interacting with me based on, something that I do or say that is misinterpreted. Or not misinterpreted.
Right.
It might just be based on an observation, but it's just, I notice it quite often, like I'll hang out with some of my friends and, I'm always like, just like picking through the things that I said that I didn't like or whatnot. And then being like, well, maybe they'll just stop wanting to hang out with me or, just various things. Even like as far as working with you, sometimes I'll be like, maybe he just won't send another link. It's just the weirdest little voice that pops up. Like almost trying to get out in front of something like that, but I can't even think of the reason why I said there's a lot of opposition to it is there's a part that then jumps up and like, that's never happened that I can recall, like where someone just quietly left the room of my friendship or my whatever it is, whatever kind of interaction I'm having with someone. I don't know. Yeah. It's a weird one. So, but it's definitely like recurrent and interesting. There's that.
Okay.
And that one, I feel like I was about to say that it's more frequent, but I don't know if that's true because the like imposter parts and, stepping over the line, trying to help people in ways that may or may not fall into my bucket part is definitely busy too. They're both, they don't take very many naps.
Okay. Any others that you'd like to speak for or are calling for your attention?
No, it's mostly that and those like, and the one that I just described, there was this was months ago, but there was this moment where I felt it like so strongly and thought like, this is crazy. And yeah, and that's just like coming back to me right now. So for this moment, I feel like I want to go with this, like people are going to quietly stop, not only wanting to be around me, but stop thinking well of me or fondly, but that I'm not going to know. And I'll just be like left questioning, or I'll be totally unaware because I'm just like moving at such a high rate of speed sometimes. Like, yeah, that one feels needy in a way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we can go there if you'd like.
Yeah, and there's a lesser level to that one where it's like, okay, so maybe maybe my friends won't stop being my friends, but they'll just tolerate me.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to. It's not rational, and I know that lots of parts aren't, but it just feels so very. It feels, to use another caller's word, cringy to say it out loud.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's like there are parts that don't want anybody to know that this part exists, which sounds about right.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, do not say that out loud. No one needs to know that you ever have those feelings.
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds like we've heard, you've listed several kind of responses to that feeling, that voice of people quietly leaving. So those would be your
quietly sort of disapproving, quietly just being like,
yeah.
We'll just look the other way. She's clueless or something like that. There's a lot of different flavors to it, but
yeah. Okay. Well,
and there's the opposite.
And there's the Oh, you're saying those are the opposition?
I'm saying then there's the opposition, like the ones that I kind of mentioned where they jump up and they're like, that's never happened. Like, that's ridiculous. Or the ones that don't want this one's voice to be heard, or
the ones that are calling it cringy, not rational.
Cringy.
Yes. Saying no one needs to know.
Yeah. And just, like, this is unfounded. Where is this even? There's, it's not just it's not rational. It's just like, there are parts that are like,
saying this one's kind of not valid of
right. Like not valid even based on an experience that I've had where this has happened. So therefore it makes sense that it's there. It's just like, what the hell is that doing there?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we could start with some of those ones that are in opposition.
Okay. I'll let you point.
Okay. Yeah. So, the ones that are saying like, this isn't historically, this isn't valid or not rational. Yeah. You could just notice those ones and you could just try asking them for space, asking them, thanking them for their input and seeing if they'd be willing to give you, if it's only 10 minutes to kind of go check for yourself. Just see how they respond to that.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those, what feels like a somewhat usual response from protectory parts. It's like a arms crossed, okay, if you insist kind of thing. But yeah, they're just, yeah.
Is there anything that they would like or need or would make it easier for them? Would they like us to check back in with them or to bring back the report or anything that they...
I feel like they just want to be acknowledged as making sense, like they're like, acknowledge that indeed there is not like a historical,
Yeah.
I think bottom line, what I feel from them is just, you can't like entertain this feeling with too much depth. Like on any sort of regular basis.
Okay.
They don't seem, it's not like, don't go and speak to that part. It's just like, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Like, don't drink the Kool-Aid, that part is what they seem to be about.
Yeah.
They're like, yo, we got enough distractions.
So yeah, they would see this as distracting to other work.
They would see it distracting in general, like distracting me from like participating in relationships or, like.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're going to become dysfunctional if you entertain this notion too much.
Yeah. And it sounds like this part that has that concern that people will quietly leave, that is kind of a distraction in your relationships. If that's, so it does make sense that these parts have that concern of don't get too buddy with this one or spend too much time with it, because it's subtracting from what they want. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, yo, that's Debbie Downer. Don't hang out with her. She's like, gonna stain you blue kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, just acknowledge them. If it makes sense to you what they're saying, let them know that.
Yeah, I'm just letting them know that that's not the intention of, this isn't like me going to a sales pitch kind of thing.
Right.
I'm not necessarily in the market to take on a new mindset. Just Yeah.
And if they're right, maybe they're totally right about like there's no historical reason for this, and maybe all we do is kind of verify that directly. Like
maybe
it's kind of just fact finding and learning and if there's not much to it, or if it doesn't need much of your time, then we can just find that out.
I am right on with that sentiment, but I also notice over time that every time there's this idea of like, this one doesn't make any sense.
That's right.
Didn't come from somewhere. There's all like a very...
They all make sense.
Very just put together like perfectly. Yeah. So it's hard to completely embrace the idea that maybe that's the case.
Yes. But if I just want to leave the door open for if we do ever meet the part that doesn't make sense, I also want to be open to not, pushing this. No, it has to. And
I like that. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Like that is even more free, you know?
Right. Like you were saying, we don't want to, it's not going to be a sales pitch. I'm not going to say, no, it has to. We have to connect these dots and we have to, find some more than is actually there. So we'll,
because there's definitely a dot connector
mm-hmm.
that tries to make stuff.
Absolutely.
But yeah, this is, it can make sense. It can not make sense. It's kind of like in the same way that the angry parts are allowed to stay angry. If it doesn't make sense, it cannot make sense. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And even if it does make sense, it doesn't mean that that's going to become my new religion.
Right.
Okay. I think they're okay with that.
Okay. How do you feel towards the part that has the concern that people might quietly decide to stop?
Something came up when we were kind of navigating or wrangling those other parts where it felt like, oh, this is like another layer of protection. What I felt like it was saying is that the reason it's so worried is so that I'll pay attention to how I'm behaving in relationship, or, like it's a little too strong-handed, but it's just very concerned about treating others well. And it's just very concerned to the point where it's got this idea, like, if you don't do that, they'll quietly leave.
How do you feel towards it?
Interested.
Okay. You just let it know that.
It's not just about treating others well, though. It's about being seen, like, in all of my, non-perfection. Like that somehow it is greater than others' non-perfection, and therefore, worthy of rejection.
Yeah.
Because it sounds really nice to say that it's concerned about how I treat other people, which is true.
Right.
But the truer truth is, it's just like, don't let them see all that.
Yeah. Okay.
Tuck that in, keep that. They don't need to know how, a bunch of different things.
Okay.
You are. Yeah.
Yeah. You okay with it showing you what it's showing you and sharing that?
Yeah.
Okay. Just let it know it can take its time, that we're curious about it. If it does want to show you any more about that greater non-perfection, they can show you more about where or when, any memories around that.
There's an interfering part that's jumping in and saying, like, everybody thinks that about themselves. Like, you know of all your flaws and foibles, and other people don't see you that way, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So that one's kind of saying, like, hey, this is normal. So one more reason maybe not to. One more reason not to get to know this part, because it's totally normal, right?
Right. It's absolutely ridiculous and totally.
Okay, I could thank that one.
Yeah, it's just jumping in, like, this isn't a thing you need to dig around in.
Okay. we'll just let the part kind of share what it wants to share, and we don't have to, do the digging so much. It's just creating the space for it to let us know what's going on for it and whatever it wants you to know about itself.
It kind of seems to have kind of a other side of the coin view of that last statement of like everybody sees themselves this way or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, but you can't see yourself as well as other people see you sometimes.
Right. So it's concerned that maybe you won't have the whole picture. The other people will see the imperfection.
Mm-hmm.
And you might not be aware of it. Something like that.
Yeah. And it's not imperfection is too strong a word. This is not a perfectionistic part.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's a fear of like obliviousness of one's own behavior. It's like really afraid of not noticing when I'm being insensitive or
right,
clueless in whatever way.
Right. Yeah.
Which is not unfounded.
Okay. Yeah, you could let it know that.
Yeah. And just get from what I just feel like this part cares so much that it hurts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Check that out with the part. Is the part is hurting from how much energy it's putting into this?
It's I guess exhaustion would be a better word than hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It cares so much that it's exhausting itself. I can't sometimes, I feel like there may be more than one part happening here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I can't yet tell if it's all one. Because there's like the fear of being seen. Yeah, I can't get it.
It's okay.
Really like narrowed yet.
It's okay. You okay with that? Just creating the space, asking the part to show you what it wants to show you, what's meaningful for it. If you want, you could ask it if it has, again, memories or times when it felt like it had to be particularly active.
Yeah, there's some stuff that's been coming up lately about my extended family, and you and I did some work with like my aunt and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm feeling like that's tied in. It's like there was a point in my like teens and early adulthood where I don't feel like I cared what a lot of, I will definitely not say that as a teen I didn't care what other people thought, but there were clumps of people, including like my extended family, or right now that's the one that's coming up where I just had no just no notion of how I might be perceived or how I might be coming across, or Yeah. And in a way, I do feel like because I was so like internalized in a lot of settings that, some people might have quietly walked away.
Okay. And internalized meaning
I was just in my own freaking.
Oh yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
I was a teenager, but I was a, very introspective, but not like, I don't know what the right words are, but I was in my own world. I was in my own world, and I was also like troubled and not aware of like anything. I really thought I was. I mean, I was really convinced that I had figured out a lot of stuff, but I really was not at all.
Yeah. Sounds hard.
It was.
Mm.
And in a way, I guess I was also quietly walking away, but not aware that I was doing that. Right. I don't know.
Yeah. So more of that. People are walking away, whether it's them or me, and what's really bothersome about it is the lack of awareness of how and what created this, what behavior caused this or led to this.
Yeah, because I think at that time, I just kind of thought of myself as very internal, like very, turned inward in a way. But from the outside, for other people, I think it felt very unwelcoming and very uninterested or,
Okay. Do you have an age to go with that?
Just teenager. Like I can see a particular like outfit that I would wear and just, kind of a far off gaze. And I liked to, I engaged with certain people, but a lot of the time I was just like waiting for the event to end, whatever it was. Yeah.
How would it feel for you and for this part that has the concern of people quietly deciding to leave, for you to kind of just go a little bit more towards that teenager, the one you're kind of seeing with the outfit and the far off gaze?
That feels okay.
Okay. How do you feel towards that part?
The word that wants to come is familiar. Like in a way, I carry out that. Not in all settings, but in ways I am still that. Like I still at times, and not in the places where I fear it most, I don't think, but I still at times, I think, come across in those ways. Yeah.
Okay. Is there some sadness or just kind of judgment about, that not being okay and not being...
There's well, it's I don't know if it's judgment. It's more just like Yeah, it's more neutral than that at this moment. Like, it's kind of more of an, oh, okay. Like, yeah, that isn't something that I've left behind or that I've,
Right.
evolved past.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this unwelcomingness and there's not judgment. It's just more like, oh, there's like, judgment's strong, but there is kind of a desire to be less influenced, I guess, by that kind of mode of being, if that is a word.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Makes total sense to me. It makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, kind of like we were saying in the beginning, I think parts have the same concern. If you go to this part, oh, you're just going to be too influenced by it. And that's a very common concern for parts, that if we get to know a part, we're just amplifying it and we're trying not to be that way so much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, at first it was the parts that were afraid for me to talk to the part that was afraid that I wasn't aware. And now we've gone one step further to the part that isn't aware or wasn't, and to some degree still isn't. And now there's the opposition to that.
Right. Yes. All welcome, all normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just let them know you see them.
Yeah, it's like that, the part that we started focusing on, the fear that people will quietly walk away or think I'm XYZ or whatnot. Oh shit, I just lost my train of thought. Yeah, it's like that part feels like it has to be so
because of this other part's cluelessness.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You can go ahead.
I wanted to hear what you said.
I was just kind of going to finish the sentence. Because of this other part's cluelessness or unawareness, it has to be.
Like, yes. Yeah, sorry for running over you. It's weird on Zoom.
Well, I was running over you, and I'm hoping that I'm able to. I was predicting that because it makes so much sense to me. It makes so much sense for that protector to have that concern.
Yeah, to be like, you got to pay attention and you've got to be fearful because she's still here. Like,
she's still here and she still has the influence.
Yeah.
Just let them know it makes sense to you.
Okay.
How are you feeling towards the young one?
Yeah, really. Compassionate, sad, sort of.
Okay. Yeah. You want to just show her that?
Yeah. It's like another iteration of a theme that we've encountered. It's like, in some ways, I felt alone, so I got good at it. Like I felt isolated or very singular.
Yeah.
And I just didn't turn around from that or something. Like, yeah.
Yeah, you can just ask her more about how that was for her.
She's still kind of she's not particularly welcoming to me either. And she's fine, like she has her ways of taking the edges off of things.
Yeah, just let her know you see that too. And of course, anything she shares with you does not have to be shared with me.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and anything shared with me doesn't need to be shared with anyone else. Just let her know she can show you what it was like.
There's like a little bit of, there's like sarcasm and a little bit of edginess. And she's like, it was like the same way that it was like for the 7-year-old, like
okay.
It's like feeling alone.
Yeah.
And then just diving into that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And, embracing certain substances and things like that. And just,
okay.
Yeah.
And that was a little different.
Inside her own
a
brain.
little different from the 7-year-old, I'm guessing.
Definitely. But
okay. But the same feeling.
It's
yeah.
I guess.
Does she want us to meet with a 7-year-old?
No, that one we've thoroughly.
Will you check with her to see how she feels about you spending time with her versus a 7-year-old just because she brought it up?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of as I sensed. She's basically saying, like, you've already heard this story. Like, you've already written this article. Kind of.
Okay.
She's like, it's the teenage version of that.
Okay.
But it's different too, 7-year-olds can't sort of put off an air of rejection to others or,
Yeah.
Like, it's not like socially acceptable, but when you're a teenager, you can kind of get away with it because no one can force your face into a certain shape or whatever. Yeah. So you can just go to the family thing and just kind of stare off and look bored and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess, what I was sensing from her is just like, well, I guess a resistance to like getting into the feelings of how it was for her and just being like, it's the same story that you're already, you're already hip to this game.
Yeah. Yeah. And you may have already written that article that those words may have already come out and you may have already touched into all of these parts. And, earlier parts were saying something similar. They're saying, oh, don't need to spend much time there. So we want to let her tell you how much time and her show you what it is that she does still need from you. What it is she does want to still show you that maybe you haven't heard, or maybe you have heard and it was 9 months ago and you kind of forgot. I mean, that happens, right? Like, so it's just whatever she wants to show you about herself.
What I get is like she needed an adult that could match her complexity or like her depth. And that just wasn't really available. She's in my old like room. And she's like, I need to get out of here. This is one of the things I need.
Okay.
But she needs like intellectual is the wrong word, but she needs like stimulation and enrichment and more interesting things.
Is that something that she would like to do with you now, is kind of bring you back into her time for a bit and let you be that adult for her?
Well, yeah, like when I started to say, I'm like, if anybody can match you, it's me because I'm you.
Yeah.
But now older and,
Yeah. So you want to offer that and just do that for her in her time?
I'm having like a don't say that moment, but she's like, you want to smoke a joint? Or parts are always offering me stuff. Like there was the waitress part that wanted to smoke cigarettes. And now she's like, yeah, that'd be cool. Let's go somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just.
That's part of her complexity and depth that she wasn't able to share with adults.
Like smoking joints, you mean?
Yeah, being high. I mean, it's stimulating, right? And it was something that she didn't have an adult to shepherd her through, or to
few, but they weren't very complex.
Right. Yeah, not those ones. Yep, I had a couple of those too.
Yeah. You met that guy?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Yeah, she's like, there's got to be more than this, and there's got to be more than that, and like, yeah. She just finds a lot of things uninteresting. And yeah, I'm getting like, she knows that the things that she's doing aren't as interesting as, what she might want, but it makes like the mundanity of her existence at that time more.
Yeah. So a lot of her existence outside of her control was uninteresting. It was mundane.
Yeah.
And she's yearning for some stimulation, some enrichment.
Yeah.
Someone to have those deep conversations with.
Yeah. And there was just like, not a lot of. There were a few people in my life during that time that could go there, but very few.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she just started writing people off, like just assuming they couldn't.
Yeah. And it wasn't a big, it was writing people off. It wasn't a big blow up. It was quietly backing away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Right. So you can just be there for her, providing that enrichment, providing those deep conversations, learning what it is that when she's smoking a joint, when she's exploring, when she's trying to break that, what is mundane for her, what she's trying to unlock
You mean like, what does she really want?
Yeah, I mean, she's trying to kind of break out of what's mundane and have more stimulation, and you can just provide that space for her. Be the person that, again, in her time where that was welcome and encouraged. Yeah.
Yeah, what I feel to do in that direction is like, that's cool too. You can smoke the joint. But what if we went to this art exhibit? Or what if, like, a bunch of stuff that no one ever offered?
Right.
Stuff that, like, she would have actually approved of.
Yeah.
But nobody even thought to say.
Trip overseas.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's an even bigger. Which I gave her that a bunch of times. Finally. But yeah, like, nobody else was offering anything of that nature. We didn't even go on local vacations, really.
Yeah.
We didn't do anything outside of, and that was stuff, that was the kind of things that I would do, on my own or whatever. Not obviously not traveling on my own at that time, but, walking around the woods or experimenting on my brain.
Yeah.
Didn't think of it that way in that time, but roughly what it equaled out to.
Yeah. And those behaviors of hers, they make sense for her trying to meet those needs.
Just trying to make it interesting.
That's right.
Because it wasn't.
It was painfully uninteresting. It was uninteresting to the point of relationships don't survive.
Or some of them did, but I just would, like, phone it in, if you will, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Just felt so different.
She had mentioned needing to get out of that room.
Yeah, we've been driving around in some weird truck for a while.
Yeah.
And going to, like, see full moons, and there's been a few different little scenes that have happened. Yeah, and then some things I've seen in the last few minutes is like, like various interesting things I've gone to do in the time since, except now I can see her, standing outside of me, also being there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, hey, look at this. Remember this? We went to do this.
Yeah, and you can kind of invite her to, if she's ready, to make that more of a permanent vacation or a permanent stay with you.
Yeah, to leave from the room. She's like, this furniture is lame anyway, and don't like Berber carpet. Or whatever.
Yeah, to create her own space, and to create her own trips or explorations.
Yeah, she would like to be involved in that stuff, like in the looking for interesting things to do department. Yeah. What I hear now is something like, I didn't mean to push people away. I just, like, I was just looking for something and just turned in. She didn't mean to seem. Yeah, the word unwelcoming keeps coming back.
Right.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned, when you first kind of glimpsed her and you said, oh, she's familiar. I still, sometimes feel like I'm being unwelcoming or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's a connection there where you can recognize her perhaps influence in that and offer what it is she needs, what you're doing for her now in those times, in the present, in the future.
Can you say that one more time?
Okay, yeah. So, when you first were kind of making contact with her, one of the first things you said is that she felt familiar. Oh, I still do that. I still come off unwelcoming sometimes, or however you were putting it.
Yeah.
And other parts were concerned. If we spend too much time with this part, that's, we don't want to increase that, right? And so you can negotiate with her and, plan with her or see with her how when that is coming, when she's coming through you in that way, which did make sense and was a way that she was trying to meet her needs in her time.
Yeah.
That you can acknowledge her coming through in that way, and you can provide what it is you are providing now. That connection, that one who does care about her depth and her interests.
Yeah.
And responds and respects her wishes.
Yeah.
If you'd like, if it feels right, at this time, you could ask where she's carrying burdens in her body and how she'd like to give them up.
Oh goodness! Immediately when you asked where, I thought I felt throat stuff, and then I saw her blowing big bunches of smoke out.
Yeah.
A little bit unconventional, but she just seemed to blow it out.
Yes.
It made me laugh. Yeah, that's what I get.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do that.
Yeah, it's like a never-ending exhale, and it's creating this big cloud that's bigger than her physically.
Mm-hmm.
She's just laughing now, she's really amused.
That's great. That's great.
Oh. She's she's just let's go do something. Let's do something.
Okay. Does that feel like something that you can provide for her?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Would you like to check back in with some of those protectors we met along the way?
Sure.
The ones that felt like it wasn't rational, cringy, maybe not historically accurate, or...
Well, it's interesting because it's it was historically accurate, but it was also in reverse in a way, because there was this fear, which it was founded in ways that people would quietly walk away, but also unbeknownst to me at the beginning, it was look, you did. You quietly walked away.
Yeah.
Or just turned away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then that brought this all kind of to the fore is the one. Yeah, that one, the one that's afraid that people will just like check out from me.
Yeah. And how does that one feel now that you're in touch with this teen? Does it have other concerns, or does it see this as useful in a way that would help it relax its concerns about people doing that?
It's still a little worried, like it's not completely free of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There must be other pieces to it, but it seems more relaxed than it was before. And it still seems a little bit like, what's the word I'm looking for? That part seems a tiny bit scared of the teenage part, but also like interested in her in a way. Like maybe, maybe there's some, it's almost as if the part is curious about the other part now.
Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing its fear of the teenage part is, again, because that teenage part is the one that was feeling that pain and was herself doing some of that turning away.
Yeah.
Or just turning inward and letting others go, or however.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can just let the one that had that concern know that you got that teen now, that she can be herself with you.
There's a part that comes up that's like, is it really okay that we're like condoning this substance abuse here or whatever? But I'm just gonna guess that it's okay. It's an internal world stuff.
I think so.
Yeah, and then like it's the response from the ones that are like, it's not historically accurate is kind of funny because they're just kind of sheepish, like maybe we don't know what's historically accurate. You know?
Yeah.
Like maybe we don't know everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is kind of the only way I know to really find out. You got to get it straight from the source.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Does it feel like a good place to stop?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Great work.
Thank you. Same. I appreciate it.
I'll be sending you another link.
Thank you. And a recording if you feel like it.
Yes. I will do that ASAP.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
You too.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows, that might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube, and they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.